We get started out with select the chairman's
Nominate Greg.
motion.
Are you also including in your motion that nomination cease and that he be
Oh, yeah,
elected by acclamation?
yeah, there you go.
I'll second that motion.
I didn't catch the motion.
He's nominating
I'm
Greg.
nominating Greg and also nomination cease, all in one motion.
I second.
Second by Jim Jones. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
The tracks were late, the train was coming.
Does he do the vice or does he do the vice election?
Well,
No,
it depends on when he hands in the gavel.
I think he's already moving.
His last act was you.
You are in charge now, buddy. I asked you in charge last week. You did so good, you're gonna go right straight to work.
All right.
I want to thank you guys for letting me chair the board this last year. I actually did enjoy it and enjoy working with all of you.
I want to thank you, Steve. Thank you for doing a great job.
Well, I don't know. It's sufficient. Let's put it at sufficient.
More than sufficient.
All right, thank you anyway, guys. And thank the county for it too.
Okay, now we need a vice chair.
I nominate Luke.
I'll second that.
Further move that nomination cease and that he be elected by acclamation.
You got that?
Motion.
I'm not sure how it's spelled acclamation.
KMCZX. CCLAIM.
Yeah.
Huh?
You can call for the vote.
June second, you get that?
Yep.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, consent agenda.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
This might be a record.
Resolution number 122, Kathleen start over. Resolution 2022-01 was the resolution that we reviewed at the end of 2021 for the redistricting of county commissioners. So I would ask that you move, and just so you know, part of this process of being audited, we have been missing, I have been missing, and the predecessor was missing, that the vote has to be on the resolution. So that's one of the things that you'll see different is at the bottom of the resolution, it has the yeas and the nays, which the chairman is to scribble in before he signs it.
So we need a motion to approve the resolution.
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Do we need to do individual? Does it count?
No, you would
Oh,
just
it's
sit there
unanimous aye.
and fill in these blanks.
Do we do myself?
You can do, yep,
5
and 0.
and 7. Look at that.
Okay. You're on a roll. Okay, so the next one is the organizational. Where we spell out who gets the banking business, the WordPress. The holidays are the same as the state, with the addition of the day after Thanksgiving. The regular meetings are held on the first Tuesday of each month, unless you call for a special meeting. The county commission, this is something that I added because it hadn't been done in the past, which is that the commissioner shall serve as the county planning commission. And then the next line is the planning county commission may meet during any county commission meeting.
Boy, that's a good thing to have in there because we haven't before in the zoning laws referred to it occasionally.
Yes. And so when the auditors had this discussion, there were some counties that actually have as a line item in there, planning and zoning. And if they don't have any activity, then they just skip it. So I just put that in there so that you had the option to bring it up. County depositories, the official place to post notices is on the windows to this room. the public auctions first floor, the ability to collect partial payment of taxes. Coroner's fees are set at $100 per decedent. Actually, with the CPI increase, it's $102, but that's, I couldn't put that in here because the wage scale doesn't get approved until later on. That is gonna get fixed when you do the motion to approve the wage scale. So anyway, indigent funeral costs stay the same as last year unless you want to change them. The speed limit on county highways is 55 miles per hour. And then for clarification, the speed limit for trucks is that they have a gross vehicle weight rating of 10,000 pounds or more. And then sheriff's office and highway patrol will get a letter asking for assistance in doing load limit enforcement. We'll still allow aerial applicators to land. The fee will still be $50. The previous snow removal and sanding policies for unorganized townships will continue. And the previous snow removal and sanding policy for county roads. And then the commissioner liaison position switched a bit. I sent this to Greg ahead of time, and he said that looked good to give everybody an opportunity to mix it up a little. So
I have two questions. One, when we talk about the burial fee
yes,
at $1,500, is that from times past? Because I thought we raised it to $4,000.
the combination of the
Combination.
for.
Oh, the combination.
So it
okay.
provides us an allowance for the funeral service itself.
Oh, 25 plus 15.
Yep.
And then
Did we have it?
partial payment of taxes, my second question. Why do we have to have that in the resolution? I thought that was now state law.
Well, it is, but it requires the commissioner's permission to do so. And when Sherry retires, I'm assuming Kim takes over, she should have that brought to you again. But this is just a formality to have it stated.
Doesn't hurt anything, I guess. Okay.
Did we have any burials this year? Any burials? Any burials?
This year, no. We didn't have any.
Totally.
And then there was one thing that was added to the liaison role for whatever. Oh, the rebel site, because it wasn't, we didn't have the rebel site manager last year, it was part of highway.
Back to the funeral thing. When we said that last time, I thought we said we were gonna set it again after consulting with her again.
I believe we decided we were gonna do that on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
So we didn't get out of bounds.
So we're already deciding it on a yearly basis if we pass this resolution without the necessity of her coming back and telling us.
Yeah, I didn't hear back from her.
Okay. She was thinking about asking for more, I remember. She said that barely gets her by. Okay. I'll go for that.
But she's aware of it. This should be,
Should be.
right?
Well, if you tried to contact her,
Well, I sent us all that appointment.
But when we agreed on that, we agreed that it was a year by year because we didn't know if we were going too high, too low, or what we were doing really at the time. We just knew that's what we were gonna do for that year. And then we were gonna discuss it on a year by year basis with it.
If you want to pick it up at the next meeting, you can just.
I think state law actually requires that it's negotiated every year or determined every year anyway, not necessarily negotiated, I don't think, but
Well,
We could do it
and
on-
with that, if we say yes to this resolution, we have decided for this
She
year.
could do it on a contingency basis, but if she agreed to it, she would just go ahead. But if she didn't
We
agree to it,
amended it
she could come in.
Okay,
afterwards.
okay.
Can we do it that way?
That's what Doug says we can. We can amend it.
so you need this all as one motion?
Yep, because you're approving the resolution.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
second.
We have a motion to second. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
And then again, you'll have the. Okay, up on the board is the wage scale. There was only one change to this. And that involved the rebel site manager. And that was a result of your motion at the end of the last meeting.
The $2.
Yep, that he be treated as a department head. And so,
$2 as opposed to $1.25.
that's correct.
So we need a motion to that or for that or not?
Yep, no, they remember the caveat that our payroll system does rounding for salaried employees. But it's never, in my experience, it's never been more than a nickel difference. So whatever the payroll comes up with for that division of payroll.
I move we adopt the wage scale as amended.
Second,
Any discussion?
Did you hear the state talking about this morning, 6% raise because they believe the inflation was 6.5%? Just as a general comment, are you keeping up or you're not keeping up, I know we've decided this already, but to go into the future and stuff with this runaway inflation doesn't change by next year, we're gonna see a pretty good leap.
Yeah, Social Security's 5.9.
Yeah, just to keep our people in groceries, we're gonna have to, for the future. That's my only comment on that.
South Dakota retirement's only 3.5, because that's a state maximum now.
Gonna change the rules. So you gotta change your eating habits.
Yeah.
Basic.
It's a diet program.
That's income.
Did you get the second?
yes,
All right, I've done that.
Okay,
this is not on the agenda, but this
let's
motion,
finish this motion, unless it's about this. All those in favor of the wage scale?
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries.
What percent did we give? I can't remember.
It was a dollar amount.
It was a dollar amount.
It wasn't a percentage.
The CPI was 1.2%.
it was your motion, Jim.
That was the CPI, but we did a dollar amount on top of it.
$2.
And our CPI
I
is
think
always
that
two
happened when it was
for,
gone.
And then about 25 for the other.
Hey, just a current thought, with this commotion going on out here and the noise in the background and the open meetings law, when they start this construction and the scaffolding and whatever, if there's a lot of noise out here in the foyer area, can we have a sign on the door that says that,
Open meeting.
yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
an open meeting,
absolutely.
please walk in.
Yeah, welcome open meeting. or
With
whatever.
some of this construction, or if they're working on the elevator or whatever, and the noise and commotion in the background can be distracting.
Resolution 2022-03.
Okay, this is a resolution, which is in essence, is a resolution approving the destruction of records. And so I've decided to do this by resolution for a couple of reasons. We have to keep a record of everything that we destroy record-wise. Well, to be honest with you, this is the easiest way to do it. And so basically what it's saying is that you're granting, or you're acknowledging that I'm gonna destroy all the vouchers that date from 2017 back. And that accounts for about 1,200 pounds of paper between my office and the attic. So part of the decluttering.
It's about as effective as trying to delete something from your phone. You can't.
In some cases you can, but these we can get rid of.
So they're just like payment vouchers.
Yep.
Bill vouchers.
I move for passage of resolution 2203.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion on that resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And then if you want to addition to that thing there, Greg, or sign the bottom. Okay, so the next item here is the budget transfers that we did at year end. So just so you know, we projected 28,621. We actually transferred 28,464. So my guess was $156 off, so that's pretty good. And then the general fund transfer to road and bridge was, we had $900,000 budgeted for that. We actually moved 856,772 to road and bridge. And then I had forgotten to mention to you that we did that transfer of emergency management, general fund emergency management, which is our share of emergency management. And so for clarification purposes, I would just simply ask for a motion that you acknowledge the emergency management transfer was part of that.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any other discussions on the transfers?
That motion's just on the emergency management
That
part.
one line, yep. Yeah, it should have been wrote into there, but I didn't put it in there because I thought it was not automatic, but then I was told that it should always be part of the record.
that a 50-50 share or?
Yep. The community health services.
Any others?
Go on.
Any other discussion
We
from that
haven't
one?
finished the motion.
Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
There's a services contract there. It's $6,696 to have the community health nurse travel over from the peer office presently. There's a 2.4% increase in that from last year. I believe Greg has that contract.
Wonder why they were happy with the 2.4. Like Gibbs says,
It's
it's 6% or 7%.
It says it's consistent with the state policy, salary policy. So that must have been what they,
Well, you gotta remember, if the governor gets your 6%, that takes effect in July.
Yeah.
July 1st.
So you need a motion on this then?
Please.
yes, please.
I motion.
Have a
To
motion.
approve.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Okay, the 2022 property coverage by the South Dakota Public Insurance Alliance. We've had the South Dakota Public Insurance Alliance for a number of years. I don't think I have the whole contract in the folder because it's quite large, but when I sent it to the state attorney's office, he recommended that everybody at least be familiar with the new rules that they imposed, which is if you leave, you can only return to the pool one time. And then, what was the other big part of that? There were two prongs.
You can't ever get back in.
Right, and then you can't get back in. So as long as you guys understand that.
Was there any reason we wanted? Yeah.
No, I think what happened is that one of the other municipalities or counties that was part of it had a bunch of claims paid and then they bailed out.
Oh, okay.
So you can approve it today, and I won't send it in until everybody's at least had an opportunity to read those.
Have we gotten any feedback yet from Elton?
Yeah,
He thinks
he
it's
says as
okay.
long as you understand their new rules.
Oh, and you just.
Yeah, and the city, I saw, they just did the same thing.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Dealt with already.
We only have one plat. Originally, there was a chance that we would have more. And so this is from Anthony Eric. And it's up on the screen if you want to look at it. This is off 369th Avenue, which up in his part of the woods is a mile east of the Rockham Road, and south to 26. It's just 2.36 acres. Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's full rounds to everybody yet, but it's good to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, everything was checked out, and he's just pretty much platting it out because of, to mortgage the area, there's already a house and shop and stuff there already, so he just needed to have a legal description of that area.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
A motion is second, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
You want me to run down and get the Elk?
Well, I don't know, we can just skip around a little bit too here, I think we'll be all right.
She just went to get a piece of paper.
Okay, if you guys are okay, can I talk about one issue that I'm gonna bring to you?
Sure.
I gave you each a copy of this 2020-205 resolution, which is the appointment of and directions to appraisers. This is our effort to declutter even more with the property that's under $500. So basically, it spells out that statute gives you authority to appoint people. Right now, I have it as one commissioner and two department heads, because it says you have to have 3 people appraised. And statute requires they be property owners. So that's fairly easy to do within the building. But then statute also says if somebody is interested in buying one of those items, they have to abstain, and somebody else can do it. So without naming names, it's just simply a commissioner and 2 department heads. So it could be any combination of who's available. And then I wrote out a simple policy, and I wouldn't pass it, you read this, and go through with a fine tooth comb, because it does spell out a couple different things on how we would do it, and what the time frame is.
Does it need to be department heads, or could it just be any Hank County resident?
It could be any Hank County resident. But the reason that I chose department heads is because we know what it cost when we bought it,
Oh, sorry.
and what its value might be. We can certainly change it.
You need a motion on this resolution?
No, I want to make sure that you guys read it or have an opportunity to read it before you do. And then I'll just give you an illustration that popped up on this website last night.
If you had several items on there that different department heads are on, you could call in just about anybody to be along to
Right.
do the appraisal, as long as they're a land property.
Property owner. So this is what I did, I just created this page and then just used this wireless access point as an example. So we'd have the page up here, it is a generalized summary of the rules, and then it just describes the property, what it is. And if somebody's interested, then they can contact us about buying it.
Are you putting that on there?
Yep. Right now it's hidden, but.
So what do you gonna try to do several things at once?
Yeah.
And then a period
This
of
way it can
time?
just be continuous, like, right now, Jamie's waiting for stuff to get out of the back room. So once this is approved, next meeting, then we would start putting on the real items that are for sale.
So like at the end of the meeting, 3 people could go out there and look at the 5 or 10 items, praise them, and you could put them on.
Yep.
Oh,
This is on our website then?
Yeah, this is on.
Well, it's hidden. You said.
Yeah, right now, the page is public.
Okay.
If you go to the homepage, you wanna see it?
No, but it will be public when we,
Yep, after it's approved.
How much time is that gonna take you?
Well, if my cohort tell me, it doesn't take much time.
Okay. Just thinking, is there
This took me
an
about 10
easier way
minutes.
to avoid you spending time doing that?
Not really.
can they bid, or they?
No, that's first come.
First come, first served?
I would,
So you're, okay.
It's like the garage sale theory.
I'd rather have it that way than bid deal, I'd rather just first come, first served. You jump on there, $20 on that $10 item, that baby should have sold.
Yeah.
The garage sale thing makes it so they can pay for it right away. We go to the treasurer, they give her the money.
Mhm.
We don't have to wait to see if somebody's gonna live up to their bid.
Yeah.
So, and these are only for those items that are under $500.
I
How
would
long
say,
do you give them if they bid to get in here and pay you?
Well, it's-
It's
all
10
it's-
business days,
It's in here.
I didn't read that part, but.
and then if it doesn't sell, it goes, we drop it, and then it goes another 10 business days, and then we drop it. And if it doesn't sell in a month,
And it goes to see Ty.
That's plenty of time. I was thinking like 48 hours.
Doug, do you recall when we had a couple of different auctions that were law enforcement related? With stuff that you had seized?
Yeah.
Did that go through a county
Did you?
sale, or did you conduct
No,
those sales?
we did it as a sale. We sold some firearms that way.
It was surplus county,
Yep,
not surplus sheriff's office.
right. The court gave the county possession of those firearms, and then we had.
Oh, that's what happened, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
how often do we think we're gonna put stuff on this page?
Well, they have to bring the items to you guys to declare surplus, so it would be probably right after the meeting. Well, I would say once a month.
Can we have the link to it be right on the homepage so it's not hard to find?
Yep.
I certainly don't wanna have anybody accuse us of, trading within, and this not being easily found on our public website, so.
Or actually, it should appear, hopefully, at one of these tabs, but I'll stop it.
Can you print it? Stick a printed copy on the bulletin board?
Yeah.
And it could say print a copy on the bulletin board or whatever, because there's people that don't have the webpage.
Is it worded in there that none of the 3 can purchase?
That's by statute.
Nor us, correct?
If you're on the appraisal board,
But I mean,
None of the
the
3
county
can
commissioner
purchase.
also-
because it does constitute public sales. It's available to everybody as long as you don't possess that conflict.
Okay, it's not an inherent conflict by law for any of us to bid,
As long as we're not,
You're not bidding, you're purchasing.
purchasing, I mean.
Yeah.
We'd have an unfair, if you appraised it, turned around and purchased it in the next 10 minutes, where it is not a bid deal, you'd have the one up on everybody if
Right.
you wanted to appraise it.
So if there is something you want, you just say, I can't appraise this.
I might be interested in that, so.
Someone else has to appraise it.
But you'd still have an unfair advantage.
Well,
because
sure you
just
would.
turn around, walk back in here and do it, there should be a time break there, that, it's gotta go public before you can buy it.
Do we need to have, do we need to have notification of the appraisal? If that stuff is available for sale right after appraisal, do we need to have notification of the appraisal on our website so that people can say, hey, if they're gonna appraise that thing, I wanna be there.
I think maybe the easiest solution is to have it appraised before it's declared surplus.
That would work.
And I think it needs to be posted before it can be sold.
Yes.
Right?
It has to be.
It's gotta be posted before, that's what I think.
Do we put it in the paper too? Or just on our website?
Well, we can put,
I think you're, most of the stuff is on that.
we can put something in the paper directing them to come look at the property, because dynamically will change.
Entities, constant.
Okay,
We're basically trying to get some money out of stuff that should maybe be thrown away. That's
there you go.
probably about what it is.
Not these because of the value. Yeah, just a motion.
Sounds good. Maybe beat that.
Okay,
As long as.
Next month.
thanks for letting me intrude.
Okay. But Will's not here yet, so maybe Jamie, you wanna just, are you okay?
Yeah. You're ready to see me, I guess.
You betcha.
Okay. Couple items for us today. So first, I'm gonna go over valuations in my sales ratio study. I don't know how familiar you guys are with the process of what I'm required to do according to state law. After completing my sales ratio study of our good sales and the stat report that was provided to me by the DOR, it shows that our valuations need to go up, unfortunately. Our ratio at minimum needs to be at 85%, and we are currently sitting at 72%, which is rounded up, which is quite low.
Do we know what other counties are at?
I know that everybody is
Low.
feeling this right now with the market that we're living in. And it doesn't seem like appear that it's gonna slow down much in the near
I
future.
even made national TV this morning.
It did?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Because all appraisals are way too low.
yeah, it's,
The runaway inflation.
so thankfully that will alleviate maybe a lot of the questions that we may get from property owners about their values being raised. Because it is a nationwide thing that is happening and transpiring right now. Mid-America, like where we are right now, we're experiencing it way more than they are the farther out you go. Okay, if that makes any sense, because they're all trying to move here, I guess.
I've always thought it's completely irrelevant. That isn't what the tax is based on. The tax is based on the mill levy.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, and that was what I was going to go into. So if I didn't go with the sales ratio study and just left things where they are, that would affect the mill levy. So the property owner is going to pick that up either way. And so that's what a property owner needs to understand, that if we don't raise it this way, it's gonna come on the back end on the mill levy, okay? So after reviewing those, the town of Miller, the town of St. Lawrence, which is booming, I don't know if you guys are aware of that, and all C properties, which are those considered 40 acres or less in Han County, are all going to be going up by 18%, the values on their buildings. And the lot, which will bring us just right to 85%. It's not going over and above that 85% that we need to be at. It's gonna get us right back where we need to be. That's basically where Terry had been since he did a valuation change for the last 5 years. He's just been kind of getting right back. So this market that we've experienced just made us plummet pretty bad. Okay, is there any questions on that? I will also add that the ag land, as far as the top dollar crop, top dollar is staying the same at $2,751.62 per acre. And then the non-crop is going up just a bit. It's going from $1,624.15 to $1,668.28. Okay, any questions?
Why isn't there an annual adjustment that's made?
And
Why do we have to go through a whole reappraisal every 5 years or 10 years or something like that? Why isn't there an indexed amount that the state provides us based upon sales that justifies an increase of appraised value?
so I would say that this would be what the sales ratio study does, Jim, and Terry has been completing that.
But why are we sinking that?
It's just the market. Things, for instance, we had one sale where it's a C property, which those are the ideal, people are seeking after those. The assessed value of that whole property was under 71,000 and it sold for almost 260,000. So you figure that percentage. That's pretty bad.
33%.
So when you have sales that are like that, and people are willing to come in and be like, no, I'm gonna.
But it used to be that a departure by such and such a percent from the former figure was thrown out. And not
150. It has to be 150% before it can be thrown out.
Well, that is 150.
Well, that particular, I'm just giving you that example because that one sticks out in my mind. That one wasn't part of my sales ratio. Others were like that, but people are willing to pay crazy dollars for those kinds of
I
properties.
think they said the average in the United States was 130% of value.
That's what they were saying this morning.
So you had a house that was appraised at 200,000,
Mhm.
it was selling for 30% over that. So you had to have that much cash on hand to even purchase it, because
Right.
there is no lending institution gonna write it.
Right.
Without that much cash, because you're 30% over value.
Is this all a function of essentially a zero interest rate environment where you can borrow so much money and it doesn't cost you anything?
That played into it. The market, as far as people moving to our region, I would say that it has a result to do with the pandemic itself. There are people that found our state to be, for lack of a better term, very attractive because we're living the way they think that Americans should, I guess. And so when I went to school, there were people from Deadwood there. There were people, from all over the state, and it's all over. There's people coming in that are buying land sight unseen, property sight unseen. They've not even looked at the house, nor even done a walkthrough online. They just take the highest bidder that wants to pay for it.
Yeah,
So.
it's state income tax here.
Yeah.
There's state income tax,
Yeah.
a lot of California buy that.
Just think of what a house here, what you sell in California, what you can buy here for those same dollars. Is
Yeah, unbelievable.
It's
You
unbelievable.
pick up that residency where you don't pay state income tax, would probably pay for that house.
And even talking to the appraisers that come into the office, they're, and actually not just an appraiser, real estate agent. They have a property that they're getting ready to get sold, and they already have a list of 20 names for that property. And it's not even ready to be sold yet. So it's just, I guess, where we're at, which is,
So
you can look at,
this keeps us in.
this keeps us in check.
Standing with state if we stay at
Right.
that 85% level.
Yes.
What do we have to do budget-wise in order to accomplish a reappraisal? We have to do it, or we have to hire any extra people? We did the last time.
That is obviously a thought that's kind of on my back burner right now, Jim. With me, I got to get my classes. I just have one test left to take, and I'll be ready to go. I honestly don't know. In talking with Carrie and Hyde County and stuff, I don't know the need for a full-time person in my mind. We have Pearl, the clerk in the office. She can take care of, just would be a scheduling, as long as you can get the property owners so that I could facilitate multiples in one day versus, oh, Joe Blow won't call me back, or, I think that was a lot of the issue in scheduling, but I just don't foresee needing to hire a whole nother person,
And do you
but
think you can do it all in 1 year?
probably not a whole year. I think it would take at least, I would say 2 probably.
Do you think there's a need to ask someone that was previously there at all, like to help you out part-time? Or
Maybe.
Is that not worthwhile?
Maybe. I know Sullivan County actually hired Vanguard. They came in and did the appraisal for them. They hired an outside firm to do it.
What'd that cost?
I'm not really sure. I just know that there was a lot of
A lot of it.
hiccups.
A
A lot of hiccups and a lot of, because they had different people in the area and property owners were calling saying, who is this on my property? Because it's not somebody familiar. They're not, they don't know, even though it's published in the paper. So I really can't tell you, but I think if it was properly managed and properly scheduled, I think that it could be done in a timely fashion.
Good.
Yep.
Would there be any value in just having somebody to hold the other end of the tape?
Well, sometimes, but a lot of the times, on the ones that I've gone on, the property owners have helped me do that. I have looked at,
Digital ones, you don't need somebody.
I do.
That's
Yes.
true.
On some of these bigger buildings, like the hog facility, for instance, I'm just gonna get the blueprints from them. I mean, measuring 10,000 units of concrete, I just feel like that's astronomical for, if I have the blueprints, so helpful, because
That's a good idea.
you know what I'm saying. But, yeah, in some instances, maybe, but I don't know, I'm
Play
pretty,
by ear a little bit, maybe.
I think so. I don't think that those are plans that we can look at ahead.
When I go out and I measure 30 grain beds in one guy's place, it's kind of nice to have somebody else hold that other end. Because you gotta climb them and everything, but I don't know what you gotta go through. Do you gotta do all farm buildings, like all granaries and all that? So you gotta know what they are.
Mhm. If the grain bin is empty, I can go inside and then figure the diameter, you know what I mean? And that makes it easier.
And do 100.
Yeah,
But,
so,
but it's time consuming. If you
It
have
is time
another person
consuming.
helping you, I mean, you can rock through a
Yeah.
lot. Anyway, that was.
well, if you wanna come get, you're more than welcome.
I'm trying to cut back on that. But that's what I see bigger and bigger, we got these bigger and bigger farm sites all the time, big buildings. Multiple grain bins and lanes
Mhm.
on them.
Yes,
And
I did go
fuel
measure
stations.
a pretty big building here a couple months ago, and I was like, oh, yeah, it was big. It took me a little bit of time, but
It would be measuring wheels instead of.
yes.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay,
Yeah,
but that's
become
definitely a good forethought and to be thinking about, but
Are things going okay over here?
yeah,
You like
great. I really like it.
Good.
It's fun, very interesting. Learn lots of new stuff. I like to learn new things. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Thank you
Sounds
for
like you'll be
asking.
busy.
What?
Sounds like you're going to be busy.
I like to be busy. So that's the sales ratio study. Did anybody have any questions on that? Oh, Jan.
Okay, so as we're going up 18%,
Okay.
and it has to be a minimum of 85, right?
Right.
Understand that? Okay, so when everybody decides in 10 years that they're gonna go in a direction, and the prices drop, and so we're at, we're at like 90%.
Right.
When do you start lowering the valuations, or does that ever happen? I mean, it has happened.
Jan, I asked Pearl that same question, and in her 28 years of experience, that has never happened, Jan.
Not
And
gonna-
typically, in my education from her, as far as the values, she said we raise them, and usually if we raise them 10% or 5%, they're always sold. I mean, that's what they're selling for. But
We cannot emphasize enough, just because somebody's evaluation or appraisal goes up 100%, doesn't mean their taxes go up 100% at all.
thank you.
People don't understand that.
They don't.
Need to understand.
They do need to understand that. It's very hard to sell that to some people. They don't understand that. But then you need to say, I will give you a case where someone did come in and say, wait a minute, you raised my property this much, da da da. like, it's not worth that much. Well, if you pull together 4 sales of the same kind of a property and show them, yeah, you can sell your house for that much, because houses like yours are selling for that much, and turned around and he did. He made like $30,000 profit on his home because he didn't realize that his house was worth as much as it was because of appreciation and all that stuff. So.
But that hasn't always been true. I mean.
Well, if you take
in
care,
the 70s and 80s, that wasn't true. A lot of valuations were pretty double what them houses were worth, you know. But in time, it all caught up, you know.
I think the 30s were kind of a hiccup too.
sure,
But you take this super inflation that we're having right now, it probably gives a better chance for a rollback than we've ever seen before, you know? Because we ain't seen this
Let's hope
inflation
so.
since 1982. They said 1982 was the last time we were over 6%.
The thing is though, it's only an expression, that appraisal is only an expression of the ratio of that class of property and what tax it ought to bear compared to the ratio of another class of property and what it ought to bear. That's all it is. It doesn't mean a thing. You could put 10 zeros behind every one of those appraisals. Doesn't mean a thing.
Mhm.
It's only a ratio that's being
Right.
expressed.
correct. You are very right, Jim.
Where's your helper for the summer?
What?
Who's your helper for the summer?
The other end of the tape measure,
You can
right
do the
there.
PR while you're measuring.
Yeah, we will see. I guess that's definitely something on my mind, and then we'll start that because it's, I mean, they just finished one and that took 11 years, am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna comment. Next, can I move on from sales
Yes.
ratio? Okay,
I would motion for a very short executive session for legal before we start this discussion.
What's the discussion?
The review of the ratio LLC.
Okay. You're motioning
Yes.
for executive session?
Second.
All those in favor, aye. Opposed, same sign.
So you
Okay.
get stalled
A
out.
short executive session.
I'm gonna stay.
Yes.
Okay.
Reason code?
Legal.
Why?
Legal.
So, agree?